and good afternoon to everyone joining us online for the Research Connect Series 4 webinar. I am Dr. Divya Menon, Assistant Professor at VES College of Pharmacy, and I warmly welcome all the participants to this session. The Research Connect series was started with the intention of giving a background of research to MPharm aspirants. We also plan to assist candidates in choosing their preferred areas of research and narrowing down the fields that best match their interests and career aspirations. This is our fourth year of activity, and till date, we have conducted 3 seminars and 1 offline workshop. In our previous workshop, we realized that there may be many students across India who may be interested in attending this workshop but are not able to attend it physically. It was the suggestion of our principal, Professor Dr. Supriya Shidhe Madam, to host it on a larger platform and to reach out to students all over Maharashtra at least. We thought that through online media we can do so. Hence, we are here with phase 1 of our Research Connect series. With this brief background, I would like to take this opportunity to formally introduce our principal, Dr. Supriya Shidhe. She is a lady of impeccable dedication and commitment and an epitome of success to our faculty and students. Her guidance and unwavering spirit are truly admirable. She has 31 years of academic and research experience. Madam is currently working as principal with effect from July 2009 for the past 15 years. She has published 64 papers and 5 patents, presented more than 58 papers in various national and international journals. A grant of rupees 1 crore 26 lakhs 89,865, 59,000 euros, 8,000 USD to her credit is also an indicator of her dedication and involvement as a researcher. She has been a resource person at many national and international events. She is a peer reviewer for many journals. She has guided more than 41 students of MPharm and 5 students for PhD and is currently guiding 3 students for PhD. With her vast experience in research and academics, she has been honored with Best Paper Award, Best Teacher Award, Best Principal Award, the Research Project of the Year Award, Gold Medal at Avishkar, etc., at different occasions hosted by various agencies. Under her able leadership, WestCorp has attained many milestones: NBA accreditation, AICTE CII awards, NAC accreditation, and an autonomous status to the institution recently. More we say about her, still will be lesser. Above all, she is a dedicated teacher, having passion for the teaching profession and also an avid researcher. I would now kindly request Principal Madam to address the audience.
Thank you, Dr. Divya, for really a very kind introduction, and I felt it was a little bigger than what was expected, but thank you so much for that.
Thank you, ma'am.
First of all, at the outset, I would like to really be thankful to Dr. Prashant Kharkar, the resource person of the day, to accept our invitation and become a stalwart speaker to inaugurate this Research Connect Series 4. So as Dr. Divya mentioned, this initiative is taken by VS College of Pharmacy to navigate our students, graduate students, through research and to inspire them to take up the research in the right stream. So our speakers, Dr. Prashant Kharkar, then Dr. Yogita Kodgule, Mrs. Sunita Sonavne are going to talk about the avenues for master's research and further doctoral research in the areas of pharmaceutical chemistry, excipient industry, and hence pharmaceutics, and probably regulatory affairs and analytical method development related research. So the idea behind this particular Connect series is to increase the awareness of all our students in these areas so that they can arrive at a right decision to choose their career path, and they can make wonders in the days to come, years to come. So we are going to extend this series further by conducting the workshops whereby we can give you hands-on experience to develop some methods and handle some instruments. And our pure and honest intentions of insight and cultivate the interest in research will be fulfilled if all the delegates get benefited from this series and there are some fruitful outcomes through this series. I am hoping for the same and wishing all of you all the best over next 3 days. Thank you, Dr. Prashant Kharkar, once again for your consent to be our resource person. Thank you and all the best for this workshop.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Principal Madam, for sharing your words of wisdom with us. The title of today's session is Skill Set Required as Professional in Pharmaceutical Chemistry. And we have with us a renowned teacher and researcher, Dr. Prashant Kharkar, who is currently professor at the Institute of Chemical Technology. We welcome Dr. Prashant Kharkar, sir, to the Research Connect Series 4 webinar. Welcome, sir. I would now like to introduce Dr. Prashant Kharkar, sir. Sir completed his B Pharm from NDMVPS's College of Pharmacy, Nashik, University of Pune. He did his M.Pharm and PhD in Pharmaceutical Chemistry from the Institute of Chemical Technology, Pharmaceutical Division, University of Mumbai. Sir is presently working as the professor in medicinal chemistry at the Institute of Chemical Technology. Sir is a leading expert in the fields of medicinal chemistry, computer-aided molecular design, and chem informatics, with over 15 years of extensive research experience spanning industrial, postdoctoral, and academic domains. Dr. Kharkar's impressive career includes significant contributions to drug discovery projects targeting a wide range of diseases, including infectious diseases, metabolic disorders, cancer, pain, inflammation, and neurodegenerative diseases. Notably, Sir has successfully completed preclinical development of a cancer stemness inhibitor lead molecule and a viral entry inhibitor for COVID-19, both of which are currently undergoing phase 1 clinical trials. In addition to his research, Dr. Kharkar holds several prestigious roles at ICT, including President of Institution's Innovation Council, Coordinator of the SM Mokashi Incubation Center ICT NICE, and Associate Dean of Academic Programs. He is also an accomplished inventor with 25 national and international patent applications and 5 granted patents. Dr. Kharkar's academic excellence is highlighted by his publication of 82 research papers in reputed international journals and presentations at over 40 high-profile conferences. His achievements have earned him numerous awards, including the Newton Bhabha Researcher Links Workshop Award and the Indian National Science Academy Award for International Exchange. Sir is a recipient of grants of approximately 8.5 crores from various national funding agencies and industry. He is a reviewer of prestigious peer-reviewed international journals such as Science Translational Medicine, Journal of Medicinal Chemistry, European Journal of Medicinal Chemistry, Drug Development Research, Chemistry, Biology, and Drug Design. Now, I would like to hand over the platform to you, sir, to share your wisdom and knowledge with our audience.
Thank you so much, madam. I'll just share my screen. Is it visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yes, sir. Just hide this. Okay. Okay, so today I'll be talking about skill set required for becoming an established pharmaceutical chemistry professional. That becoming an established thing is silent because it's a long and lengthy process. And it is just that unless you exercise a discipline in whatever learning process you are involved in, which never stops actually. So that's exactly where I've kept it silent because it's always work in progress. Even today, no matter where I am, who I am, I'm still learning and still I don't consider myself as an established person. It is just that I'm just trying to do something, very interesting and accomplishing whatever is the result of all the hard work. So first of all, thank you so much, madam, and all the team at VSCOP for inviting me for this particular seminar series. It's a fantastic initiative, and in fact, the whatever I'm going to discuss or whatever I have included, most of it you are already doing it. So that way, your own students as well as faculty will be able to connect with it very nicely. And in fact, just happened to one of the students from VSCOP, Mukta, who is currently admitted at Jalna. So she is working with me as my mentee or as my student. And after a very long time, I have told someone that I'm very proud of her because she is so good. I actually told her that I see myself in her in terms of when I was doing my master's. She is so fantastic, and that speaks a lot about the kind of training she has undergone at VSCOP. And believe me, I'm not making it up. But whenever now I'm in charge of overall admissions here at ICT, so a lot of people call me. So whenever somebody calls me, VSCOP is always in one of the top list of colleges or one of the top leading institutions that I recommend to potential students. And of course, that's because what I know, what goes on in here and the kind of training the students go. So with all due respect to Shidaya madam, Hirlekar madam, and all other teachers and the students who are present here, I would like to talk about what I know and share whatever little I know in this particular aspect, right? So first, I'm going to talk about the skill set or skill sets required for pharmaceutical chemistry professional in general. Now, in terms of if you look at the way various skills are classified, I don't want to stick to a classical definition of any skill set, but there will be some core skills and then there will be some auxiliary or supplementary skills. Now, it's possible, like Madam already mentioned in her words, that there are many avenues that a pharmaceutical chemistry professional can get into, including the regulatory, including other things. But what is important here is the word pharmaceutical chemistry. That means chemistry is in the air, chemistry is everywhere. And the moment you decided to become part of pharmacy profession, invariably that chemistry became part of yourself. But what we see in today's times is students they shy away from chemistry. They don't want to actually get into chemistry, and I'm very happy to note that VSCOP has MPharm in pharmaceutical chemistry offered, which is fantastic. Now, many colleges they have already kind of closed down their pharmaceutical chemistry divisions for whatever reasons, because the students are not really coming forward. And this is exactly, I mean, of course, this is not just a local or national phenomena. This is an international phenomena. People are shying away from basic sciences, which includes chemistry in general and pharmaceutical chemistry in particular. But every one of us will agree, be a teacher, be a student, that without chemistry, there's no pharmacy. Whether it is small molecules, whether it is macromolecules, whether it is phytochemicals, whether it is phytochemistry, for anything that you talk about, the chemistry is everywhere. So without thorough understanding of chemistry, there's no pharmacy, right? So students, those who are part of this forum or those who are listening to what I have to say, Please believe me in when I say that chemistry is everywhere, and without chemistry, it's difficult for you to survive. I mean, don't think that you have Chat GPT at your disposal or any other information resource, but in general, being thoroughly equipped to understand chemistry, your life as a pharmaceutical chemistry professional or in general pharmacy professional is always going to be very, very convenient or easier. Now this time I have actually tried something very different. So except these titles that you see on the left hand side, I have all my slides. There are only 10 slides. I think 11th slide is thank you, and first slide is the title. So I have got these so-called mind maps, I would say, which will in general first talk about pharmaceutical chemistry professional skill set in general, and then I will be going into details one by one. Now, as you see on my right hand side, I hope you are able to see, although to accommodate a lot of material, I had to reduce the font size. Now, if you see, it starts with, say, the research skills, because now we are talking about, I'm assuming a PG student. And when I say pharmaceutical chemistry professional, so I'm talking about a PG student and obviously a PhD students, and then the professional journey as an academician or as a teacher, or even for that matter in the industry. So your research skills, so you will be required in research, like you will be required to engage in research all the time. So the bigger category I would talk about is research skills. The moment you say research skills, as a pharmaceutical chemistry professional, your technical knowledge obviously comes in picture, followed by the moment you say technical knowledge, then that is accompanied invariably by analytical skills. And then the general categories of skills, including communication skills. So when you are a researcher, your communication has to be good in terms of, particular scientific communication, and obviously the so-called problem solving. And your problem solving is directly related to your technical knowledge. Your technical knowledge is directly related to research skills. Your research skills are in a way your research skills will shape up your communication skills when it comes to scientific communication. So I have kind of categorized them into core skills, and then you have got the general skills, and then there is this very specialized skill, I would say, regulatory understanding. Of course, those who are passionate about regulatory sciences or regulatory field, they require a totally different skill set. Of course, sitting for long hours in front of the computer, that's
matching uniforms.
one very
Subways. Can I
this is one very important, and that's how I have categorized it into a separate one. For each of these categories, you have got subcategories. Say research skills are directly related to your literature review, experimental design, data analysis, your technical knowledge. When I say pharmaceutical chemistry professional, so I'm talking about organic chemistry, biochemistry, pharmacology. Regarding analytical skills, chromatography, spectroscopy, titration in a way. Communication skills is report writing, team collaboration. And when it comes to problem solving, of course, critical thinking and innovation. The moment you say problem solving skills, so first unless you identify a problem, you won't be able to solve that problem. So for identifying problem, you should be thorough with your technical knowledge, and you should have that innovative innovative side, without which you can't really going to solve the problem. And this is exactly what you need when you go to industry, or when you go to academia, or you start your own business, or no matter whatever you decide to do. So this is in general an overview of the skill sets which a pharmaceutical chemistry professional would need to have in order to succeed, in order to establish. And then now I'm going to get into the details, finer details of this. And I'm going to start with technical knowledge skills, which are required for pharmaceutical chemistry professional. But like I said, as a PG student, or even for that matter, as a UG student, we learn a lot of chemistry. But then eventually we just lose it on the way. Maybe because we did not understand, maybe because we did not have that patience to try and understand, maybe because it's too boring, maybe because it's I don't like structures. Whatever is your reason for not liking the chemistry, for that matter. But like I said, chemistry is everywhere. So getting in love with chemistry is basically a very important thing, because without the love or without the passion for chemistry, you're not really going to do a good job. Now, when it comes to reaction mechanisms, that's probably the toughest work that we think it is. But then if you look at, I mean, we typically try and buy hard things, including the reactions, the conversions, transformations, as well as even for that matter, the reaction mechanisms. But if you study, if you understand how a particular, what is the basic class of mechanism and how exactly it is actually shaping up, where a nucleophile attacks on the electrophile, and then eventually there is this polar reaction that happens. In other cases, we have got the metal catalyzed transformations. So no matter what, there are certain rules or certain, I would say, pathways that these reactions follow, because nature, although we try and study the reaction mechanisms in multiple ways, but if you look at nature, nature will not stop and think, oh, I have to proceed by a polar mechanism, or I have to go by a metal catalyzed mechanism, or maybe a cycloaddition or other type of mechanism. Nature will not stop. It is humans, the entities which we think are the biggest in the universe, but we have a minuscule presence. It is for our understanding, we try to devise certain classifications or categories and try and understand the mechanism. But then many a times it's not possible for even humans with the most advanced tools that are at our disposal to comprehend the mechanisms, because they happen so fast in the nature. So no matter what progress we have made, we are still so far from understanding nature's secret, and this should keep us on the ground. But then at times we just don't, we just give up. We just don't give up in terms of our pursuit, and this is exactly where when I say your pursuit for knowledge is what is going to help you in transforming into an established pharmaceutical chemistry professional. So if you zoom in on the technical knowledge side, although organic chemistry, the moment you say pharmaceutical chemistry, at times we think that it is analogous or it is synonymous with organic chemistry, but in many respects it is not. So organic chemistry, just like any other chemical sciences, it is also the basis of pharmaceutical chemistry, which involves the synthetic pathways, like how the reactions happen, how we actually derive one scaffold from combining two scaffolds or by replacement. Of course, the reaction mechanisms play a very, very important role, without which we wouldn't be able to follow, we wouldn't be able to design the synthetic pathways. And of course, it's not just the reaction. I mean, many a times the reactions happen, but unless you are able to isolate and purify the compound, it is good for nothing. This is where a thorough understanding of organic chemistry is central to understanding pharmaceutical chemistry and harnessing your skills as a pharmaceutical chemistry professional. After organic chemistry, I would go ahead with medicinal chemistry. Of course, you can be an organic chemist and get into a job profile where you are required to synthesize intermediates, chemicals, drugs, or maybe impurities, degradants. So that's where your synthetic skills will be put to test. But at the same time, you can also be a medicinal chemist. Again, the basis, the foundation still remains the same. Typically, if you go in US, and then they will usually hire people from some Nobel laureates lab, for the reason that when somebody is working on, say, total synthesis of natural products, so basically the methodology is very important. And the pharmaceutical recruiters, they believe that medicinal chemistry can be taught. Unless you have a very solid foundation of organic chemistry, you cannot be a good medicinal chemist. And this is exactly where I said chemistry is everywhere. So medicinal chemistry, which is related to drug design, then structure activity relationship, and cheminformatics. And nowadays, everyone is talking about ML, or DL, or AI for that matter, and their uses not just in medicinal chemistry, but in organic chemistry. Nowadays, we have got tools which are able to, put together different, different components and device you give the retrosynthetic pathways, and that is not just some guesswork, but there is a solid foundation in terms of what is already known in the literature. And then of course, if you know the famous story of penicillin, had it not been for these other two guys who shared Nobel Prize with Sir Alexander Fleming, penicillin wouldn't have seen the light of the day. I mean, of course, that was a serendipitous discovery, but please read about how penicillin came into market, came into existence, or came to the clinic had it not been the chemical engineering efforts or scale-up efforts by those two other guys, which basically involves the process development part, scale-up techniques, as well as pilot plant operation. Because I mean, working in the lab is fine, but unless you have that that ability to scale it up so that it can be produced on a multi-ton scale, you can't really take it to the masses, and without which the discovery wouldn't mean anything. So these are the core skills. In addition to that, the pharmaceutical chemistry professional, based on his or her interest, can also get into biochemistry, or in today's world popularly called as chemical biology, understanding the biological secrets from the chemistry point of view, which involves variety of targets, including enzymes, biochemical pathway, and then molecular biology. I mean, you talk about any discovery, any Nobel Prize, even in biology, you will see some chemistry is involved, some, or rather, I would say majority of the chemistry is involved. Even though you are getting into gene editing, it's all chemistry, and it's just that we are using biological machinery to do the chemistry, because our very existence, very basis of our existence is all those four or rather five base pairs, 4 DNA base pairs and 1 additional RNA, without which we wouldn't exist. So it's all chemistry, followed by pharmacology, again understanding how drugs act and how the chemical interactions with the target of a small molecule ligand or even a macromolecule, without which you wouldn't understand and appreciate how drugs act, how the drug mechanisms drive the therapeutic actions. And at the same time, toxicology. Toxicology is just a therapeutic effect gone in excess or gone wrong, as well as the pharmacokinetics, which are again extremely important in trying to understand how drugs act and the overall drug action. So all of these, core areas. But of course, now I'm listing all of these all at once. But just be mindful that you don't really have to have all the skills. You can choose the one which interests you more. I'm sure there are like all the resources, all the tools available at your disposal in the college. It's just a matter of time that you decide on your interest and get into what actually what you are passionate about, and follow your passion. And there is no looking back. You'll always be successful. You'll always establish yourself. Coming to the next part, which is again extremely important, and we hear a lot of people talking about research skills. So I will not spend more time, although I'll still give the mind map, featuring the research skills. Again, this is kind of a zoom in view of the zoomed in view of the research skills which are required for a pharmaceutical chemistry professional. Now, again, if you see, again, there are core skills. I will start with the literature review. I mean, anytime you start doing the research, the first and foremost thing that you must do is do a thorough literature search. And although there are like thousands of papers, but a good thorough literature search will save you tons of work. I mean, there's no fun in doing something what is already reported, but it's just that because you missed it, you did not know, you kept on doing same thing, and one fine day you come to know, oh my God, that's already reported, and what do I do now? So that's exactly where literature review is extremely important. And followed by the moment you start doing research, you have to have a plan for research, and this is where experimental design comes in picture. Although we have got many tools of design of experiments, and then people talk about quality by design, and then there are many other aspects. But then the basic premise of experimental design is extremely important, which includes hypothesis development. So you always start with the hypothesis, and then there is a methodology which is suited for that testing, for testing that hypothesis, followed by data analysis, which at times is the most crucial stage. Data generation is one thing, but data analysis. And then the moment you start writing your thesis, the most struggle which you will have is in the results and discussion section. And this is where trying to analyze the data, of course, for that you have to collect the data appropriately, followed by interpreting the data, and then use some tools or softwares for analyzing the data, so that data can give you hidden trends, hidden picture, and either support your hypothesis, or your hypothesis doesn't hold true in light of the data that you get, followed by statistical analysis. Now, to be able to understand or apply statistical analysis is central to research, and at times we miss that part. So try and understand the statistical concepts. I'm sure you have a course or two, or take up courses from NPTEL or SWAYAM or many other sources. which includes biostatistics. And I think, the PCI new syllabus has biostatistics in the final year. So I'm sure those who have taken those courses, who have come from the new PCI syllabus, would know about it. Then comes the descriptive as well as inferential statistics. So trying to understand the data and trying to infer something from the data is central to the overall outcome of the research. So that's extremely important, followed by the auxiliary skills, including technical writing as well as presentation skills. I mean, many times, you ask yourself when you do the plagiarism check, and the number is like more than 35, 40, 50, sometimes more than 70. So what most of the students tend to do is they just copy paste, but then that's not how it is to be done. And this is exactly where trying to understand, or rather trying to read the research papers and understand them in itself a skill. And then when it comes to grant proposal, for that you definitely require a different skill set at all. And then comes presentation skills, which includes presentation while you're talking to your guide, presentation in a conference, presentation during some exams. So this is exactly where and how effectively you use the visual aids for creating an impact is extremely important. There are excellent resources for presentation skills as well. I'll not get into the details of those. Then comes the regulatory understanding skills. Like I said, this is kind of a specialized skill. But then at the same time, like I said, you have to be passionate about regulatory sciences. And believe me, there is so much dearth of people with the regulatory background. So the moment you get into regulatory sciences, you don't have to look back, because you will only going to progress and progress. But like I said, again, you have to be passionate about it, because otherwise it becomes too boring or too complicated for one to comprehend and then excel in that particular thing. So do something that will make you happy, and do something that you enjoy doing, rather than just because I did not have any other option, I went to regulatory sciences, and then I'm just kind of, pestering myself in terms of, oh no, I don't understand this, I don't follow this. And then it's too difficult. And this is exactly where, again, if you look at for a pharmaceutical chemistry professional, the FDA guidelines, those are central, because we are regulated by the FDA or local authorities, or in the global market, US FDA, or the major, whichever developed market you are getting into. So those FDA guidelines, followed by the good manufacturing practices, be it a drug substance or a drug product, which involves the quality assurance, sanitation, hygiene, because ultimately the FDA would want to ensure that safety and efficacy of the medicine, that are the drug substances that are produced, and the drug products that are produced, because ultimately it is related to public health. And of course, the clinical trial regulations, we have all seen during COVID time, the clinical trial regulations, how the new drugs came into market, how the vaccines, they were untested, and we are still debating and kind of confused whether something happened to somebody is because of the vaccine effects, post effects, or so. And this is where having a safe clinical trial, in fact, we had the clinical trial regulations in 2019 coming up, which kind of replaced the earlier Schedule Y. So a lot of things have happened, and then happening regularly every year there is some amendment, and to be able to in line with what regulations are changed, how regulations are changing, and how one should keep oneself updated. But of course, if you are not into regulatory sciences, probably you just want to have a brief overview, and that you can always get from some research paper, some review paper, or some commentary, or some news article. When it comes to ICH guidelines, again, there is a purpose for which ICH was established, and the guidelines which we use for every now and then, including the stability studies, including the preclinical toxicity or so, and then obviously the documentation that is central to regulatory sciences. I mean, every new market, every developed market, or every market that you would want to get into, they have their own requirements, and this is where understanding this documentation part can really get you a very interesting job. And then you can even, after a few years, you can even act as a consultant consultant and earn a lot of money. But then what is important is having that skill, is extremely important. Then comes problem solving skills. It's more generic, but then it is very specific as well. So the moment you say problem solving, so it becomes at times domain specific. Although we say that pharmacist is a support of all and master of none, and then when you go higher in the category, then support of all and master of one, and then yeah. So again, your technical skills will be tested when it comes to problem solving, and ideally you should read more about the case studies in pharma industry, be it a drug substance like bulk drug manufacturing or even the drug product manufacturing, and those case studies are going to tell you a lot, because sometimes some bizarre problem appears. I remember in my wife's previous company, they were to make some hair product, and this hair product was produced in nearby Khopoli, and then this whole thing went to Dubai. But then as soon as it reached Dubai, it actually started, the color started changing. It was typically, that was expected because of some, not expected in the sense that happened because of some metal ion contamination. And then when they trace back to the original factory, so one of the pipe was actually rusted, and some of the iron, metal ions were introduced, and because of which it completely ruined the batch, and the whole batch was recalled. So again, so unless you have a thorough understanding of whatever you are working on, meaning the chemistry understanding, it's again very difficult. So problem solving is extremely important. Problem solving can make careers or even break careers for that matter. So meaning you may be at an entry level, but if you solve a critical problem, believe me, they will just pull you up in the hierarchy, and that's going to be extremely important. So when it comes to problem solving, the core areas include decision making, or core skills include decision making and troubleshooting. So as an expert, as a pharmaceutical chemistry expert, people will look forward to you. The shop floor people will look forward to you for the troubleshooting. Something goes wrong, maybe in the reactor, maybe in the manufacturing machine. When it comes to, say, your drug product is not as per expectation, and so basically you have to work on the troubleshooting part, and then based on your knowledge, based on the situation, you have to decide. You have to take a decision to continue the batch, to stop the batch, do something, and then I remember one very interesting case. I went to a company named Zytex in Vadodara. There, some polylactic acid batch was going on. So it's basically a microbial fermentation. But they kind of encountered a problem where the pH wouldn't go below, meaning they expected a pH to go below, but then it wasn't going below because of some issues. And they had to throw a 5,000 liter batch, 5 KL batch, just because of that. So see, again, this is exactly where the decision making comes in picture, and every decision that you take will have some financial implications, either on the good side or on the bad side. And this is exactly where the problem solving skills are directly related to the financial outcome and the success of the company and your career success as well. In addition to that, the critical thinking, innovation, as well as analytical skills, including the data interpretation, hypothesis testing, are also extremely important. So if you are working on something, and then you can always come up with some innovative ways of doing that. I'm not saying jugaad or something, but there can always be a better way, and this is exactly where problem solving from the innovations perspective is extremely important, and that's exactly where but of course this many of these things cannot really be taught in the classroom. You have to learn these skills on the go. Whenever there is a problem. In fact, that's where failure is the biggest teacher, I would say. But then that's exactly where you have to continuously read about the case studies, and there is ample literature that gets published and is available. So that reading is extremely important. And this is exactly that. Reading itself is a skill, but I'm not really getting into those. The next one being communication skills, and this is exactly where Okay, so coming to the communication skills, again, it's more of a general skill, but then under that general skill, you have got the core skills, that is presentation skills, technical documentation, and report writing. So as a pharmaceutical chemistry professional, maybe working in a company or maybe working in an academy or working on some project or so, you will be required to write the reports regularly, where you are expected to write clear, meaning reports with clarity, accuracy, and conciseness. You cannot really make things so complicated. So this is where, but again, you have to develop that. I mean, you can't just ask Chat GPT, oh, can you please write this report for me, because I'm so busy or so. And this is exactly where you have to develop that knack for writing the reports, and you have to beat yourself every time you write a fresh report or a new report. So basically honing in your skills. Presentation skills, I wouldn't really talk more about it. I'm sure you hear about it every now and then. Technical documentations, including SOPs and research papers. But again, there are some very interesting things happening. So people are using Chat GPT, and then they even forget to remove the prompts that they have put. And then those have been published in the research papers, and that's such a shame in terms of really using Chat GPT for writing research papers. And then, of course, there are additional or auxiliary skills, including team collaboration, interpersonal skills, and client interaction. Now, when it comes to interpersonal skills, probably these are the most difficult ones to be taught or to be learned, because human behavior is very complex, and at times, managing people becomes or takes precedence from all other things, including technical skills or so, because everybody is different. I mean, look at yourself, you as a person, at two different occasions, maybe similar occasions, your behavior can be totally contrasting. And this is exactly where developing interpersonal skills, without losing your dignity or your swabhiman, so that people don't exploit you or people don't demean you. So all of these things eventually you will learn. Not necessary that in 2 years of PG or maybe 3 to 4 years of PhD, but then every interaction with somebody, some or the other person, or maybe within yourself or with yourself, every interaction is an opportunity to hone in your communication skills. Give a thought of why you behaved the way you did, or why you behaved the way, whether you should have, you should not, because our conscience is extremely important, and try to listen to yourself, and believe me, you will not make the same mistake that you did, at one instance, right? So I'll get into the next one, analytical skills required for pharmaceutical chemistry. Obviously, the core skills include chromatography, spectroscopy, mass spectrometry, and as Madam also mentioned, analytical method development. Analytical method development itself is a field. And then when it comes to validation, quantification, or even AIQ for that matter, analytical instrument qualification, optimization, and there are so many other things. So eventually you have to be, you have to learn. Now there are so many things that are changing in the instrumental methods of analysis, including spectroscopy, mass spectrometry, chromatography. So basically, you have to keep yourself updated with with whatever is happening in and around these fields. Because if you keep talking about something that was more prevalent 12 years ago, which is obsolete today, so that's not really going to help you in any way. So attending the workshops, attending the webinars, attending the seminars, reading the white papers, that will definitely make you a better person at understanding these things. And again, these are very, very important things, because like I said, many a times the troubleshooting or the problem solving skills will definitely involve some of these spectroscopic support or spectroscopic evidences, including mass spectrometry. And this is exactly where you should be very, very thorough. And of course, titration and electrophoresis, those are auxiliary things. Not necessary that we use titration, but specialized types of titrations, including coulometric, potentiometric, maybe for metal ions, or maybe for some species which are either oxidizable or reducible. And then for analytical method development, I already told you, method development and validation in itself is a field, where you need to put special efforts to hone in those skills, and this is extremely important. Now, there is one slide. There are two more slides after this. So there's one slide which will be like AI ML, like artificial intelligence, ML or machine learning, deep learning skills required for pharmaceutical chemistry profession. Now, this is a generic skill set that can be applicable to any pharmaceutical professional or any professional for that matter. And this is exactly where you can have the AI ML tools for data analysis, machine learning, drug discovery, and predictive modeling. So there is so much that is happening. There are so many tools that are available freely, and with the help of ChatGPT, you can write the codes. You can ask ChatGPT to write the codes for you. Or maybe you write the code and then eventually it corrects it. So a lot of things can be done. In fact, I use I know ML. I don't say I know AI a lot, but I know ML reasonably well. This I've been trying to learn it or learning it for a very long time, and this is exactly where today I can write a small code, get it corrected from ChatGPT, and use it for generating some very interesting graphics. Of course, we have Excel and other tools, but then these these graphics are extremely cool and very important. They tell you a lot about what you're looking for. So I would say every teacher, every student, irrespective of the field of study, should get into these skills, earning these skills. And because 5 years down the line, you'll be forced to learn these skills. If you don't learn these skills today, on your own, otherwise, you may be obsolete, few years down the line. And this is exactly where you keep learning, honing in your skill. And then there are, related skills, including deep learning, then bioinformatics, as well as automation. Now, if you look at the top 10 skills that are required in the next 10 years. So there is 3D printing, then there is automation, then there are many things that are being used, say particularly in health sciences. And so since that we are into health sciences, so understanding these or developing, or at least try and have some familiarity with these skills is extremely cool, because without which, I mean, that will only help you make a better researcher, a better person. And who knows, you may actually beat a programmer, a seasoned programmer down the line, just out of your interest. But like I said, keep all the doors open. So, you see all of these, what is important is learn, and learn. Without the eagerness to learn, you will be like a dead rock. And you have taken birth on this planet, and one fine day you will be gone. Nobody would even know. But that's exactly what I say. 75 billion people have come on this earth, but we remember only few, or we know only few, because of their legacy that they have left behind. I mean, I'm not saying you go and bag the Nobel Prize. Again, that's not an impossible thing, but at least try and aim something higher. Then only you will be able to push yourself. Otherwise, life is already full of so many challenges, so many problems. So keep yourself busy learning new things, and believe me, life is so rewarding, so cool. You don't have to go and show off everywhere that I know this, I know that. People will come to you for what you know. Now, this is a second last slide, role of a teacher in developing skills required for pharmaceutical chemistry professional. And from the video, from what Madam said, most of the things are already you are familiar with, all the right set of tools, instruments, equipments, everything is, most of the things are available to you. And this is exactly where I would want to highlight some of those. How does a teacher help honing in these skills? So of course, the practical training, which is extremely important. I mean, I don't get time these days, but I used to, wear apron and get next to the student and help them learning, honing in their skills, because as a teacher, that's my primary responsibility. And I actually love that. Okay, then a knowledge transfer. Now, not necessary that everything that the student should know will be available in the book, and this is exactly where you have to transfer what you have learned along the way, because every teacher's story is special, and this is exactly where you need to transfer this knowledge to the forthcoming generation. And this is exactly where the teacher can play a crucial role. Of course, research guidance. So spending a good amount of time with research students is extremely important, because again, the research students are looking forward to you for guidance. I mean, we keep blaming students at times, or even the students keep blaming teachers. But this is where we have to find, we have to kind of, synergize or find that symphony between both of the stakeholders, without which neither a teacher will evolve nor the student will evolve or learn. Then, of course, the other skill set related to role of teacher include assessment, mentorship, and networking. And this is where a teacher is expected to give, and give. And in the process, the teacher will acquire a lot of other things, including the life skills or honing life skills or even the research skills, because every student is different. And we see that we learn every now and then from every student actually. And then this one is the last one, a role of institution in developing skill. This is my last slide. Another 2 minutes and I'll be done. Okay, so here, when it comes to a role of institution, I think that's the biggest catalyst for that matter. Curriculum design now, VSCOP is already, an autonomous institute, and Madam mentioned about the new curriculum. Then comes laboratory facilities. In the video, very nice thing is shown. Then research opportunities, which includes funding, meaning funded projects, research grants. You already have a lot of collaborations with industry. That's amazing. And of course, professional development through continuing education, soft skills, as well as certification program. In addition to that, extracurricular activities are also must. So believe me, when I talk about these areas, and you will feel happy as well. Most of the things are there, but the moment we realize that, okay, everything or most of the things are there, now we probably need not worry too much, or need not take more efforts. But that process never stops. We have to improve from what we were to yesterday and what we will become tomorrow. And this is exactly where the management's willingness to support everyone, all the stakeholders, will only bring a good name for the institute. Again, the monetary, or rather the material benefits of an institution getting recognized is one thing, but then in the student's mind, that belief, that minds whatever I am is because of my teacher, or whatever I am is because of the institution. That particular feeling is priceless, and believe me, no material benefit or no material gain can substitute that. With this, thank you so much. And in case there are some questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you, Professor Prashant Kharkar, sir, for such an insightful session. I would like to summarize the session. My video is not. Just a moment.
There are several questions.
Yes, sir, there are some questions.
Several actually. Good. No, not a problem. At least that's a direct evidence that people listen.
Yes, sir. Participants have been actively listening to you, and that is the reason why they have many questions to ask. So, sir, as you said, there are core skills and auxiliary skills. And I agree with you that, chemistry is in the air and chemistry is everywhere. So, without a thorough understanding of chemistry, there is actually no pharmacy. And it is also something that every pharmacy student will actually agree with. And as a pharmaceutical chemistry professional, there are certain skill sets that we require, as you elaborated: analytical skills, technical knowledge, research skills, regulatory understanding, communication skills, problem solving skills, and involving yourself in chemistry and having a passion for the subject is very important. And we all know that as a teacher. Uh, Then in research skills, literature review is really very important. It is true that thorough literature review is extremely important, and planning your research work is also significant. Then technical writing, and how copy pasting things will not work, and that using chat GPT for writing your research articles is also, it is not a good practice, and it should not be done. And problem solving skills is something that we should definitely have. And the example that you gave about the hair product and it changing color due to the presence of a metal ion contamination was also something that was helpful. As you said that we should read various case studies and improve our understanding about all the things that are happening in the industry. That is the only way, because theoretical knowledge will only get us so far. So that is something that I understood. And having understanding AI and ML skills, these are also required, because in the future it will come really helpful and we will be actually forced to learn it if we do not learn it right now. um, Eagerness to learn, that is something that every student and also a teacher should possess if you really want to grow in your life. And you also told us the importance of the role of a teacher in developing skills in the students and the role of the institution. So thank you so much, sir, for the informative and enlightening and insightful session. We are very grateful to you.
Thank you so much. Pleasure is all mine.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So let's move on to the Q&A session.
I saw a question related to the competition with MSc students. I think Madam has posted that. Yeah, so what I feel is, like, I have spent almost 9 years in industry. So I think it is just a mental block that we have, as a meaning pharmacist have. So the moment you suppose you decide to be consciously decide to be in API industry, working on the synthesis, as long as your chemistry understanding is good, you definitely are at par with them from the the mechanisms as well as the retrosynthesis perspective. But then a lot more than what they have, because even if they have studied pharmaceutical chemistry, maybe a subject or two, but I think the whole background where it comes from, including the impurities, including the degradation products, including the stability studies, including the formulation aspect. I think we are better posed compared to them in terms of I would say the problem solving. And at times we keep looking for opportunities, or rather we wait for opportunities, but wherever you have to be very, very proactive, and that proactive behavior in industry is only going to take you places. So without any mental block that, oh, he's MSc organic chemistry, I am pharmacy, like I'm in pharmaceutical chemistry, I think it's just a mental block. Believe me, it is just a mental block.
Very convincing.
Yes.
Okay, sir. So we'll move on to the next question. It is by Mr. Ranbir Saluja. The question is, there are many companies offering workshops for softwares like Promax, MOE, Talking, but these are introductory workshops mostly. How does one go into the These are introductory workshops mostly, but how does one go into the in-depth learning and get guidance while performing such calculations? For example, while performing QM calculations, a beginner needs a lot of guidance as to which basis sets must be chosen and how to interpret results.
Yeah. So when it comes to QM calculations, for that matter, so there are some books, some very basic text. So if you go to Washing 16 help or the guidance or the manual, so they actually talk. There is a complete book which is available. But of course, you have to talk to somebody who is an expert in that field, who will be able to recommend that book. And so once you have the theoretical basis cleared, because when it comes to QM calculation, everything comes from physical chemistry side, the electronic structure and everything, including the DFT studies, and then many other theories. including Schrodinger's equation and all. So there are some basic text. So once you get into, see, that's what happens. I mean, we try and find answers on Google, but then you get the information in bits and pieces. And this is exactly where we are all confused, and we don't get into. So eventually, the student loses interest. So the best thing is to contact someone who is an expert in the field, maybe from Mumbai University, maybe from Pune University. You can come to ICT as well, or any other college for that matter. There are renowned people who would give you a proper guidance. But I think without that basic text, it's difficult otherwise.
Okay, thank you, sir, for the answer. I hope it solves the question. The next question is by our HOD, Dr. Mushtaq Sheikh, sir. He has actually posted 3 questions. So I'll be asking the first question. Which programming languages you may recommend to learn?
Python.
Acha, okay, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend Python over R. I tried to learn both, but Python, I think it's very simple. So I would recommend Python.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you. Some of the students may want to be entrepreneurs in the future. What areas of expertise they should start following from now only while pursuing master's program?
Okay, so basically you can be an entrepreneur on the analytical side, or you can be an entrepreneur on the synthesis side, or maybe you can be an entrepreneur on the, I would say, the medicinal chemistry side, including the computational chemistry or drug design. So once you decide which area interests you more, because for some people
डे बाय डे आता अटेंडन्स पण तुमचं बघितलं ना एक्सेल त्या ह्याच्यामध्ये येतात ना टीचर येतात ना तुम्ही प्रोव्हाइड केले
because some people may not enjoy doing analytical chemistry, whereas some people may not enjoy doing the synthetic work. So it's basically in your area of like the area that interests you. But I would recommend directly jumping onto the entrepreneurship. I mean, you can still start with some private partnership or LLP, or maybe some kind of supply stuff. But then if you really want to get into top notch technical stuff, you should go to industry, take experience, know the precise details of the business, and then only you should get into the entrepreneurship.
Okay, sir. The third question is, which are the new areas of industry students from chemistry background should consider for skill development and job hunting?
Okay, so now, definitely I would say the use of AI ML tools for things that are done conventionally in the chemical industry, including, I would say, the retrosynthesis for that matter, or even the property prediction, or the data analytics again for that matter. So the choice, I mean, the areas are quite broad, but you can be, once you get into that particular area, you can mix and match your skill set, your training. So I would say the AI ML tools and successful use of them in the industry, in the chemical industry, including say the green chemistry for that matter, say like something like doing the green, practicing green chemistry, replacing the conventional processes with the green chemistry processes. I think there is so much scope, and it can be tried out, on various. But again, for that, like I said, you have to immerse yourself in the literature, because nowadays people talk about photochemical reactions or visible light assisted organic synthesis. That's really so amazing. I mean, whatever is not possible with the help of thermal reactions, I think visible light assisted, all you need is those particular wavelength LEDs, and the rest everything, and then of course the catalyst. So visible light assisted organic synthesis is another area. In fact, while I was previously associated with VSCOP, we talked about cationic lipids, and Anand himself, one of his students, or maybe many more students, got into cationic lipids, and I was so happy when I evaluated that student's MPharm thesis, and hats off to Anand for that matter. I think there is so much you have to just embrace, come out of your comfort zone, and a lot of things are possible actually.
Okay, sir. Thank you for that answer. And I think it solves, all the queries of our participants. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Indeed, always wonderful to be part of VSUOP activities. So it's always a pleasure.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
I would now like to invite Dr. Mushtaq Sheikh, Head of the Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry at WestCorp, to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Divya. Respected Principal Madam, Dr. Supriya Shidai, Professor Hedlekar Madam, Dr. Anita Aire Madam, Honorable guest and speaker of this event, Dr. Prashant Kharkar, Professor ICT faculty members and participant of this event. Good day to one and all, and it is my genuine opportunity to pay the vote of thanks for this session, first session of Research Connect Series 4. That was preferably on the title, Skill Set Required as Professional in the Pharmaceutical Chemistry. I'd like to begin with our deep regard to management of WestCorp, and along with her principal madam, Dr. Supriya Madam, for supporting us on various platforms for fostering quality consciousness at WestCorp. She had been a guiding light for us, even for this event to be organized. The organizing team has done really well, including the event coordinator, Dr. Anita Aire, who had been behind meticulous planning of this event and making it a success. The contribution of Professor Ashish Hedlekar towards the team is also worth admiring. My sincere regards to Dr. Prashant Kharkar for kindly accepting my invitation and sharing his experience on this topic. In fact, when sir you started the first slide only, is something it was learning for me, that is a skill of reading between the lines. I had given you the title, but you added something over to it, that one has to be good pharmaceutical chemist, and quality is something everybody admires these days. So in fact, this talk was going on. It was targeted for new research aspirant. Despite the entire time, it was a feeling that it is learning point for all of us, even the faculty members. And mind it, I'll be watching this stream on YouTube, which is a stream on YouTube, WestCorp's YouTube channel, several times, definitely. I'd like to extend my sincere gratitude for the organizing team. As people say that no one can whistle a symphony, it takes a whole orchestra to play for it. Lastly, I would like to thank the participants who have responded overwhelmingly to our call of this workshop, and more than 500 students they have connected through this workshop, as well as 100 were present today. Few of them will definitely watch it on YouTube whenever they will find time. It will be available there. So we are very sure that participants are taking a better idea of research as career, and your doubts and fears are resolved. Thank you very much, everybody. And over to you, to moderator Dr. Divya Menon again.
Thank you, Dr. Mushtaq sir, for sharing with us your reflections about the session and for giving the vote of thanks. I now request all the participants to please switch on your cameras so that a snapshot can be clicked. Participants, if you could please switch on your cameras so that we can click a snapshot. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. As we conclude today's session, I would like to share an announcement for the next 2 sessions lined up on the 9th and 10th of July. On the 9th of July, we have a session by Ms. Sunita Sunavne, Head Regulatory Affairs, Rocket India Private Limited, about exploring research and career opportunities in the excipient industry. And on the 10th of July, we have a session by Dr. Yogita Kurbule, Director, Chief Analytical and Regulatory Affairs, IQGenX Pharma Private Limited, about unveiling pathways for research and career in analytical and regulatory affairs. Dear participants, the feedback link is provided in the chat box and will also be communicated through email. We are looking for constructive suggestions to improve on the quality of our Research Connect series. Please fill all your particulars in the feedback form to enable us to generate certificate of attendance for today's session. We also have scheduled a hands-on workshop on handling advanced instruments and equipments for research from 16th to 19th of July. Kindly register for the same. Link will be shared in the feedback form and also via email to all the participants. Thank you all for joining. Looking forward to see you in tomorrow's session at the same time using the same Zoom link. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dr. Prashant. It was an excellent session.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
And it really set the tone for this Research Connect series. And I personally got to learn a lot through this presentation. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.